So what we see now is that we are doing a lot of repetition. It would be perfect if we could just, I don't know, for example, look at these key value pairs and then assign them to the existing instance variables, for example. So let's put a binding dot pry here, and let's access that. You see we are on line 8, and this is because we ran this file and Ruby tried to create a new clown, so we got here. Just to make sure, I will call parameter hash just to see that this is exactly the hash we passed in. So what we could do, maybe, how about that? We could actually iterate over this hash and then find a way to assign the values to the correct instance variables. So let's do that. So I'm going to use each method because I don't need a new array. What I want to be done is only to take the key value pairs and then assign the value to the specific instance variables. So do. And each can actually take, when iterating over hashes, it can take a couple of arguments. So for example, key value, I could call it this. And whenever I write do, I always write end. So I will comment this out. So let's put another binding dot pry in here. And now I will take this one out because we already checked that parameters hash already works. So now you see I'm on line 9 in here, right? So let's see what the first key is. The key is name and the value is Krusty, right? So now what we want to be done is we would like to find some way to assign dynamically this value to an instance variable that is corresponding to the name of the key. So for example, if we have symbol name as a key, right? Maybe we would like the value to be saved to the instance variable name. So what we could do, perhaps, we could use this method send. This is something that I spoke about here and there a little bit, low-key. Basically, in Ruby, every single method can be sent as a message to an object, right? So for example, if we have 1 + 1, this in fact under the hood is .send, and you would take the argument of a plus and then the value, right? So this works the same way. In fact, actually, this would be a symbol. But if you pass a string, then Ruby will do the legwork to translate the string to the symbol. So for example, if you want to do reverse, right? So we would do hi and now reverse. In fact, what's happening under the hood is send, reverse, just like that. So now, maybe we can actually use the fact that we created attribute accessors. So we actually do have methods that when called, they will actually immediately instantiate an instance variable. There's a difference between instance variables, and also one of the differences between instance variables and local variables, that instance variables will be defined and will be defined on the moment when they are called. They can be also defined just like we did here, but another way, you can also define them even if they were not predefined. So just by calling them, right? So what we would do, first we would check what self is. Self is a clown, just a clean slate of a clown. So let's do that. Self.send, we're gonna send this method name to the object of the clown. This is not something that I expect you to, be proficient in or actually maybe do. However, it is really important to know that there is this tool for you in case you want to refactor your code later on along the line. So I told you that what send method does, it actually accepts either a string or a symbol. So one of the instincts would be to take this key, right, and then assign the value as the second argument. So maybe let's first try with hard coding the first argument. So let's do name, and then let's do just value, right? Let's see whether this will work. And we are getting wrong number of arguments given 1, expected 0. And why is that? So that is because actually this is just a reader method. Do you remember that writer methods are with an equal sign? So let's try this. And we just got Krusty the Clown. So there are two different ways you can write this down. You can either, write this, you can either write it this way, or you could do something like self.send. We would need to interpolate the key. We would need to write name and then equals and then value, right? So now let's see, now let's see whether this would work. And we are getting undefined method name. Oh yeah, in this case, we would need to do key, sorry. So we would need to do something like this in order for the interpolation to work, right? So this would still work. However, where I am trying to get to right now is to actually not hard code the name, but actually use the key. So let's try this out. Let's see whether this would work, right? So currently, it still works. So there are a couple of different ways you could write this down, right? You could code this. And we will be using the third one only because it is dynamic, so that next time around, let's just see. If I exit this, you see that I'm again on line 9. So now I'm going to check what the key is, and the key is age. So if I kept this line of code, then a name would be 42. So we would be just overwriting the instance variable of name. That's not what we want. So now let's run this and let's see whether it actually assigns the age to the value of 42. And so let's check what self is right now. And you see that this is, name is Krusty and age is 42. So this is going to be our winning code, right? So now let's think about safety. What happens if I actually add something unexpected here, just like I did favorite snack? Do you think that Krusty will actually end up with a favorite snack? So I would like you to now just check it out and then think about why possibly that could be.